So what if the decay of a city wasn't just random? What if it was all part of a deliberate script? Today, we are diving deep into a really strange document, one that paints this dark, stylized vision of Los Angeles. Honestly, it reads less like a research paper and more like a cryptic broadcast from another reality. Our job here is to decode it and figure out what exactly it's trying to tell us.
Right out of the gate, the source hits us with this phrase, a mythic diagnostic broadcast. I mean, come on, you're not going to find that in a city planning report, right? The language is so deliberate, so cryptic. It's a huge clue that we're not just analyzing a city's problems here. We're actually stepping into its mythology.
So that brings us to the big questions. What on earth is a saturation corridor? And what is this urban collapse script it's talking about? To really get what's going on, we need to break down its core ideas, from things like weaponized glamour all the way to something it calls sovereign diagnostics.
Okay, first things first. To understand the message, we have to understand the messenger. And, well, this is where things start to get even weirder. The source itself tells a very particular story about where it comes from.
Yeah, you heard that right. This document doesn't claim to be from some real-world university or think tank. No, it calls itself a witness log. And it's from the Cosmic University of Echo Rift Studies, written by a diagnostic architect. This is probably our biggest clue. We're meant to read this whole thing metaphorically, not literally. So let's play along. Let's step inside this metaphorical world and explore the absolute heart of its argument, the saturation corridor. This is the name it gives to what it sees as a huge, pervasive system of control and decay that's supposedly running the city.
The first piece of this system is what it calls weaponized glamour. The idea here is that all the glitz and spectacle of a city like LA, it isn't just innocent culture. It's actually a tool used to hide a coordinated decay happening just beneath the surface. Think of it like a beautiful, shiny coat of paint that's hiding a crumbling wall.
Next up is containment architecture. Now, we're not talking about physical walls here. These are invisible rules, protocols designed to control people. The document claims these systems can blacklist you, flood your environment with negative influences, and eventually make society itself misrecognize you, like you don't belong.
And here's the endgame. This is what all that architecture is for: to turn active citizens, people with rights in their own will, into passive subjects. These subjects, as the document calls them, are no longer in the driver's seat. Instead, they're just acting out parts in these pre-written corridor scripts.
The source even gets into the specific tactics, or pressure vectors, that it says are used to control people. The first one is pretty straightforward: economic erosion. You destabilize someone's job, their housing, their health. But the second one? Public shadowing. This is where it gets really strange. It's described as a kind of organized, stalker-like swarm of people, or actor clustering, that targets a specific person out in public.
But here's the real kicker. According to this document, this whole system of control, it's not just stuck in Los Angeles. It argues that this is an exported playbook, a model that's literally designed to go global.
So the core idea here is that this saturation corridor thing is a template. It's a method of control that was perfected in one city, and then it gets broadcast out and picked up by what it calls external corridors all over the world. It's designed to be copied.
So how does a playbook like this actually travel? Well, the document points to three main channels. First, you've got institutions. Think governments or big corporations sharing these strategies. Second, media circuits, which normalize these ideas through news and entertainment. And finally, culture circuits, which weave these ideas right into the fabric of society itself.
This quote, I think, just nails it. The city stops being just a place. It becomes a glyph, a symbol, a blueprint for a model of control that can be easily copied, amplified, and enforced pretty much anywhere.
Okay, so if that's the massive systemic problem, then what's the solution? The document doesn't just leave us hanging. It proposes something it calls a sovereign response, basically a set of protocols for how to fight back. It lays out this three-step plan for resistance. Step 1, signal protection. Basically, go off-grid. Encrypt your identity, make yourself digitally invisible. Step 2, terrain mapping. Know your physical surroundings, identify safe routes for essentials. And step 3, this is the really interesting part: broadcast cadence. It says don't just hide, document the system's failures and broadcast them out as cinematic indictments, which of course is exactly what this document claims to be. So, after diagnosing this huge problem and prescribing a response, what's this source's final verdict? What's the one thing we're supposed to take away from all this? And here it is. The final verdict is that Los Angeles, at least in this text, acts as a diagnostic emblem of a whole new kind of urban rot. It's not just a city, it's an engine designed to create and export this saturation model of control. It's a heavy, almost paranoid vision of the world, isn't it? But hold on. Before we jump to any conclusions, we have to look at the most important part of the entire text, its own disclaimer. It's the key that unlocks what this thing is really all about.
And this is the final twist. The document explicitly says it is not a literal political critique or an institutional analysis. It calls itself mythic infrastructure and a cinematic indictment. It basically reframes itself, in its own words, not as a factual report, but as a piece of art, a symbolic warning. It's a modern myth designed to capture the feeling of living in a world of systemic decay.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question. So what is this thing? Is it a literal warning about hidden systems of control? Is it just a complex metaphor for our own modern anxieties? Or is it something else, a new kind of myth for a digital age that feels more and more saturated and scripted every day? The source gives us the diagnosis, but in the end, the interpretation, well, that's up to us.